You are live.
All right, we're live. Good, excellent. Welcome everybody to our 30-day paleo challenge. Great stuff we're going to cover tonight. Again, luckily everybody knows me pretty well already in this room, which is great, and everybody at home will get to know me more. I want to start this off real quick because of how the passion part I got behind working with nutrition as I was developing out my skill sets, being a chiropractor and learning more about nutrition and working with athletes with CrossFit and seeing a benefit from that part. But as I started doing lectures in corporate environments, I started studying more about the numbers, about what was happening with our healthcare. And just so some of the bad numbers we worked through, that we'll lose about 2.9 million people this year, just in general in America. That's about roughly how many people pass. Of those 2.9 million, 2 million of them are from lifestyle preventable diseases. So it's a pretty big number. It's 70%. So it's a pretty high number. So I was able to start out with by asking the crowd, and you guys out there, who wants to live to be 78 years old? You better all put your hands up. Come on, 78 is not that old. Older, okay, a 78 or older.
Yeah.
78 or
That's
older.
a good question.
Hands up, good, excellent. So 78. So here's the deal, guys. The average American's lifespan is, guess what, 78. That means half of us in this room are not going to make that number if we go according to the averages. So, and again, that's where the next number comes in. Of those half of those people dying before 78 years of age, they're passing because of lifestyle preventable diseases. And we all know them too. What are the top 3 killers right now? What do you think? What's number 1?
Cardio?
What is it?
Cardio?
Heart disease. Heart disease, number 1 killer. Cancer and diabetes. They're the top 3 killers right now that are out in America that are killing everybody. And now the really cool thing about science and where it's been going is, as a matter of fact, this science is kind of interesting. There's not many studies that are funded to study health. You guys believe that or not? Most studies out there are funded to look for pharmaceutical pieces that can kind of interject in someone's life to kind of get them going because it's a product they can sell. So where the money goes, studies go with it. So again, it's been a big process. But probably about 10 years ago when I was putting together some paperwork, I looked at a study called the EPIC study. And everybody can Google it up. I'm going to link it to the site too. It's a European-based study. It's been going on for over 50 years. It's got about 60,000 participants, and every year is submit back over a subjective form about how their health is doing. So they've been monitoring them for years. So it's one of the longest-term studies when it comes to morbidity and mortality in our health. And the really cool parts I'm going to kind of pull from that is 4 things they looked at that they said, listen, if you do these 4 things, you have a 90% chance of not dying of one of those 3 diseases you just said. So imagine that. So imagine if all of a sudden someone said, hey, I know the secret to health and life. And it's right there. It's been there. It's kind of cool. So the top 4 things, number 1 was not smoking. That was a big one. Again, remember, smoking is a relatively new phenomenon people stopped doing. Back in the 80s, I remember going to, as a child, going to my family physician in the 80s, and he was smoking, with my mom smoking. So again, it was kind of the common thing back then. Number 1 was smoking. Got to get that done. Okay, that's not about tonight. Number 2, exercise. What do you think it said about exercise? How much do you think you need per day? What do you think? Or total for the week? Any guesses? How many?
30.
He's good. He read the study. 30 minutes a day. So 4.5 hours per week is what they said. So divide out by 7, it's 30 minutes per day. That's where that came from, by the way. So 30 minutes per day of exercise. Now the next 2 are all about what we're going to talk about today. Number 1 is your BMI. Everybody should know their BMI. It's body mass index. It's a fraction of height versus weight. When you're over a 30 BMI, you automatically have a 70% chance of coming down with those top 3 diseases. So 70%. So it's not like a small percentage. We're talking 70%, more likely than 50%. You're going to have diabetes, heart disease, and or cancer. So that's one of the numbers we're going to talk about. This program is not about weight loss, but it's about that number. And number 2, the diet. They said that a person that ate veggies, fruits, nuts, seeds, minimal amounts of red meat, but they said good lean proteins, and a moderate amount of starches was the most healthy person going forward. Which got me thinking right away, wait, where does it sound familiar? And which sounds familiar is what we see with paleo. Paleo is all about that. As a matter of fact, if I could say, I'll have a talk about clean eating, I wouldn't get anybody who shows up. But because it's paleo, people are like, oh, I want to find out more about this new diet. But in reality-wise, it's actually the way we're designed to eat. It's a very simplistic form as far as what we get to do. So we're going to talk about 2 of those things that came up in this study that say, listen, if you do those, this is what's going to happen for us. So before I start with everything, I want to kind of go through a little bit of science. I don't like getting too heady on these, but it's a really important part about what we're going to lay the framework on why we're going to talk about what we're eating, when we're eating, and then why we're eating or how we're eating. We're going to look at something called the insulin glucagon teeter-totter. So bear with me on my beautiful artistry here. I'm going to draw it out nice and big. Hopefully the home people can see this also. So what I mapped out here was a little bit of a chart. And the chart we're going to look at is the balance between blood sugar. Does anybody know the body part that's been designed for us that regulates blood sugar. Anybody know what body part secretes this guy up here, insulin?
Pancreas?
The pancreas, you got it. So think about that from any sense. I wish I had gifts to give out. Like, half-hour massage, free for you. Everybody's going to raise their hand next time. All right, so what we're looking at here is the pancreas. The pancreas was actually developed out for one reason only, and that was to help get the body get rid of blood sugar. Because believe it or not, back when Grok, the Paleo guy, was running around trying to capture his prey, if he got chased by the saber-toothed tiger and was bit, he didn't die from the bite, he would die from the infection ensuing because the saber-toothed tiger had bacterium in his mouth. And if Grok had a very high blood sugar, guess what loves sugar? Bacteria. That's how bacteria flourishes. That's why when kids, like when flu seasons come up, think about it. We're eating a lot of crappier foods. You know, it's Halloween, it's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, we're eating all these sugars. Flu season comes up. Well, because inside we're all full of sugar. Bacteria, viruses love that kind of stuff, so it flourishes. So we have these two really powerful pieces up here. Most people haven't heard of glucagon, so we'll go through that. And most people have heard of insulin before. So what this here basically is a timeline of our blood sugar throughout the day. So what do you think most people eat earliest to eat in the morning? What do you think? What do you eat first meal? What time?
8 a.m.
8 a.m. Excellent. So 8 a.m. What's the next time most people eat, you think?
12.
12. Yeah, you're getting onto it now. 12. What's the next time?
6.
6. You got it. 6 p.m. All right. The industrialized world basically gave us this diet, believe it or not. So up until like when factories became into vogue, the factory owners actually only want us to eat twice a day. That was it. You eat at home when you're at home. You had breakfast, and you eat when you got home for dinner. We're not going to give you lunch. And guess what was happening? Everybody's fainting and falling out. They had no energy. So they said, okay, we got to give you a lunch because what's the job of factories? They want to get things done, right? So they gave us a lunch. So think about it. We're still eating based on this aspect of industry of every 3 hours, kind of spacing them out. Where in reality-wise is it causes an undulation of our sugar. So what's the average American, almost said it, average American breakfast look like? What is it? Number one thing most people eat for breakfast?
Cereal.
Cereal. There you go. Top selling out there. And what is cereal made of?
Processed grains.
Processed grains, right? So it's mostly carbohydrate based. So we're going to kind of drop in a little bit here. What we're going to start looking at here is 3 factions. The 3 macro groups we're going to focus on is number 1 is carbohydrates. I mean, knows what a carbohydrate is, right? It's a good source of energy for us. Yeah, that's it, exactly, scientific based. How about this one? What's the P stand for in the macros? What's the next food macro? Builds muscles.
Protein.
Protein, you got it. And then of course we love this one here, which we're now finally figuring out we have to get eating more of. Our fats. So there's really, I mean, by the way guys, you'll see with my talk tonight, it's a lot of it's geared towards simplicity. I love that keep it simple, silly, or keep it simple, stupid saying, where I think Einstein said the ultimate form of sophistication is simplification. So if we can simplify it, it makes it a lot easier. So there are the 3 things we're going to look at today when it comes down to that. So here's the American diet. Cereal, carb-laden, cow's milk. For a percentage of them, most people buy what kind of cow's milk? Low what?
Fat.
Low fat, yeah, 2% low milk. So you're taking everything out. All it is basically sugar and a little bit of protein. But again, it's another carbohydrate source. And maybe a little bit of protein in there. And then of course we're an octane nation. We love caffeine, right? So we're going to have our coffee with our what? Cream, a little bit of sugar. So you're going to add that to it. How about lunch? What do you think? Where do you think most people eat lunch? Do you eat it at home or do you eat it outside somewhere? Outside, absolutely. So you're at the beck and whim. Now, for the majority of the parts that, I've been around this area for a while, we do live in a nice area which has nice choices of foods. But for the most part, the average American will pass roughly about 15 to 16 fast food joints in their simple drive home from work. Do you know how many good places they're going to pass to eat? Not many. Maybe 1 or 2 at the most, like a farmer's market or some sort of stand. Not many things going on. So the average American usually has a fast food lunch. It's usually consisting of what? Burgers, pizza, Wawa hoagies, all that kind of stuff coming through. Again, very carb-laden, process-based foods. Again, maybe getting some proteins and fats in there too. And then for dinner, what's the American dinner style typically? What is it? What do we usually have? What's most common? What do you think? What's a good American dinner?
Pasta.
Pasta, you got it. And what is pasta?
Carbohydrate.
Carbohydrate, you got it. Let's say it's a meat and potato house. I kind of grew up in Northeast Philadelphia, and it was meat and potatoes house. My dad always wanted a potato or starch on the thing, so again, carbohydrate. Maybe a red meat of some sort, or a protein, or a processed food. And then again, like I said, everybody back when I grew up, again, being in the 80s, 90 kids, we're all fat phobia. Couldn't eat fat, don't eat fat, don't eat fat. Now we're all switching gears a little bit, saying we gotta eat fat, it's good for us. So when you look at this map right here, again, we just mapped out the typical American diet that's actually probably watching on TV right now, maybe not necessarily you guys. So I'm going to kind of draw out here, if I can get a red marker, that'd be great, our blood sugar. So what happens is this. The body auto-regulates in the morning and actually keeps your blood sugar fairly level. Guess it's red. Fairly level, so it doesn't go real low. But when I ingest this kind of food right here, what do these all do to the blood sugar? What do you think? It goes up or down? It goes up, way up. Why? Because it's way overdone for as much sugar as we need. So we have this huge spike. Now when we start to enter into this phase up here, the body goes into an alert and says, whoa, wait a second, I don't want to get an infection, so I'm going to get this thing out of here. So insulin's kind of like Uber. Okay, and basically the body says, hey Uber, I need to get this guy's out of here. I want him out of here. You gotta get out of my club because they're gonna make me not feel that great. So your body's gonna shuttle it to 3 spaces. It's either gonna go to your brain, your muscles, or your fat. Okay, so we have 3 spaces to put our energy in the morning, okay? Now if you're not a morning workout person, because you just don't do that kind of thing, your body's gonna dedicate a little bit of that to your brain. So that's gonna get your brain kind of kicking because your primary energy source outside of oxygen is also sugar for the brain. Well, the next one is going to be to our muscles. And all of a sudden, you get to this door and it's shut because you haven't used them. If you don't use your muscles and decrease the amount of glucose in there, that's why it is actually good to work out in the morning, is your body will put that right back into your muscles. So that's benefit for that. So the majority, huge majority, of that energy is getting leaked straight back into our storage area. Because remember, that paleo guy running around before didn't have a giant sitting out back. He didn't have a McDonald's on the corner. His body was designed to store this stuff. So if he came upon a good find, a big bush of cherries or something, or an animal that was dead and you could eat it, he'd eat as much as he could to get that energy storage up because he was going to have a lull somewhere along the way too. So then we have this drop. So here's one general principle we have to remember about the human body. That which goes up fast comes down fast. And that's what happens on these diets right here. All of a sudden this insulin says, hey, I need this thing out of here. And next thing you know, we bottom it back out again. This is right around maybe 11 o'clock where the person goes, Doc, every time like 11 o'clock rolls around, I'm yawning. I can barely keep my eyes open at my desk. You know, it's like 5-hour energy here. That's what I call 5-hour energy. It runs you right to at 5 o'clock, so you can get out of work. Then you go into this area here. That's what that guy's feeling. He's getting that hangry. He's hungry and angry feeling. Now, glucagon is what they call a muscle waster. So basically what happens right here is your body says, hey, I need some energy to survive. So it starts to secrete this hormone, and the hormone basically drives your, breaks down your muscle tissue to put sugar back in your body. So again, you're losing muscle here. Does this sound like a good idea? Probably not, right? All of a sudden it dips down. And then all of a sudden we get our lunch in. Woo, we're back up here. And then boop, 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 boop. We're back in. And then it crashes again. 3 o'clock, everybody got to like mid-afternoon. You're like, oh man, I need another coffee. Can't believe I'm getting a 3rd one in here. And then we have this little bit of undulation back again. So the typical American diet here really puts fat on our body and decreases our muscle. So it's no wonder that as we're going through the cycle of life, we're getting sicker and sicker as we move along because muscle is the ultimate form of youth. So if you want to know any number to study, if you look at how old you are, look at your body mass percentage, how much fat versus muscle you have. There's numbers they can show you on a timeline that sarcopenia, which not many people heard of, sarco meaning muscle tissue, penia meaning loss of, is the #1 sign of aging. So if you go to any older person home, old age home, the person that's not doing that great is the person that's losing a lot of that muscle, which is, again, those wasting away diseases like cancer, heart disease, they're all wasting diseases. So again, we got to keep that lean muscle tissue on. Plus remember, it's a vital tissue because the only thing that creates energy in our body for movement is our muscles. That's what keeps us alive, keeps us feeling young. So we got to keep that on there. So again, this is that typical layout here. So again, brain, muscles, fats, we got to get that balance back out. So let's look exactly how we can balance this back out. What it really comes down to is, here's the deal. The chart that you're going to download in there is going to give you your choices. Now, in your choices, there's 3 avenues you can make when it comes to your choices food shopping. We've given you a starter, a pro, and an elite, depending upon how seriously you want to do this program. If you just want to come out and do a general base part of it, there's all much more stuff available for you when it comes down. But for the most part is, if you're getting your veggies and your fruits and you're eating in your meats and your proteins, your choices on paleo can almost negate the majority of what we're going to go over here in a second. So let me go jot this on this side, actually. We'll go back to black. Back in black. All right, so we're going to look on here. We have, on this side, so we have CPT, and then we have choices, portions, and timing. All right, so with paleo, the choices are pretty easy, guys. I have a whole chart here in the beginning part. You'll get to that like 5th or 6th page. It's going to give you what you can eat. Ready? Real quick. Lean protein, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds. Pretty much what you're looking at. Now again, we have recipes in there. There's 45 recipes in your programming. You can make those meals up as you go along. And if you stick to those 4 things, I will tell you right now, you can eat what you want to eat when you want to eat. Okay, so I'll say that again. If you stick to lean proteins, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, you can eat when you want to eat. So if you want to eat 6 times a day, I have never seen a person get fat eating too many vegetables and proteins and nuts and seeds. Okay, just it does very rarely ever happen. Okay, it's always something that's triggering off that insulin response. So your lean proteins, fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, you pretty much don't have to worry about it for the most part. But if you're going to go off track a little bit, which we're going to talk about towards the end, we have to start factoring in our portions. So now, I don't know about you, I'm Italian, so again, I was actually, bad Italian, so I went to a Mexican restaurant with my kids because it's Taco Tuesday. So where do you go on Taco Tuesday? But a Mexican place, right? And so we went over to a Mexican place locally, that's what we like. And I didn't eat paleo that day. I actually had some, off the cuff foods. But what I stuck to was the idea that the carbs that I was consuming, I made sure I didn't eat anything larger than my fist. So we're going to go through that real quick. So your portion control is going to be carbs as big as your fist. This again is when you're not eating on pure paleo. This is me last night, real world scenario, sitting down with my kids going, all right, what am I going to eat? So what I ordered off the menu, again on the menu, was I got fajitas. And I got a little bit of rice on this, I got a little bit of refried beans on the side. I didn't eat the rice because I wanted to have the refried beans. The refried beans came out perfect. It was a little cup, roughly the size of my fist. Okay, so again, in my book, how they're processed, they're pretty much going to be straight up carbohydrate based for me, maybe a little bit of proteins and fats. But I tried to reserve as much as I could, about a fist size. When it came down to my protein, I ate about my palm's worth of protein. Okay, so about 4 ounces. Okay, so I actually took a little thing home last night, so I have it actually for dinner tonight if I want it. But the protein sources, again, this is when you're eating off paleo and you're trying to eat just a cheat meal. You're going to go into that palm area. And then the last one on here is your fats, which is roughly about the size of your thumb. So your thumb is about the fat serving size, again, when you're eating off of paleo, because we're going to cover that here towards the end. When you go, what do I do when I'm out eating? Exactly what it said. We stick to that rule. Fist, palm, thumb, order to go box, and kind of go back in and through. So again, the choices portion timing is not a huge portion for that, but now we'll go back into that timing part. But also, again, that was in here. Ideally speaking, what we want to see happen is the idea that we should eat every 3 to 4 hours. That's the timing part. So 3 to 4 hours will allow our blood sugar to look a little bit more good. That's kind of purple, but I use it. I got blue right there. It's going to look a little bit more, and so we can open up a discussion on how we do this. Something more like this when it comes to your meal selections. 3, 4, roughly that way. That's about what you're going to try to affect during these next 30 days, is to get this blood sugar back under control as one of the first things we're going to attempt to do. And we're going to do that by laying out our day as a meal plan for 4 meals per day. So it could be your typical, what you're doing now, but you're adding a snack. So let's say you're an 8 o'clock eater and you don't eat lunch till about 1 o'clock. You might put a snack in at 11 that's paleo approved. There's a paleo list in there of what snacks are in there. As a matter of fact, I gave you my favorite recipe for my no-bake, I'm not a big baker, but it's a no-bake paleo bars. There's a few in there. Again, I do a lot of homemade stuff. You'll see that in your recipe book. That's something you would plug in here as your next meal, so when you go to 1 o'clock to eat, it's going to be looking like this, and kind of batch it out. Now, I do recommend eating 5 times a day, if it's something that's doable for you, if you're getting in workouts consistently. So in the days you work out, I do usually recommend getting an extra snack, a protein shake or a smoothie, something paleo kind of approved, get a little bit extra protein, just to make up for some of that excess energy output. So that's going to keep you nice and level coming back in at 3. You might add a 5th one there if you're working out that day. That's going to go to your timing one here, which again is every 3 to 4 hours on there. So 3 to 4 hours is what you're going to try to work towards as far as consuming the meals going back in and through. So in your packet, again, you're going to have that shopping list, which is going to break down exactly what needs to be in that cart. But what you got to do is you got to look at the selections of the recipes. And again, I think it's 45 recipes. So what I typically do is I usually try to find, I call 4 keystone recipes. Keystone recipes are ones you can stick into a crock pot. You can put into a big vat. We make a chicken vegetable stock soup, which is all organic with organic chicken. It takes about 8 to 9 hours to cook, but it serves about almost 20 servings of soup throughout the week. So I have 3 kids, so it serves us all throughout the week. I do recommend having at least 1 or 2 keystone meals made per day to make it easy, because we're going to now drop into the next phases. How do you make this the most successful? Is you follow these very basic pieces here. All right, so this is what your day, these are the success points to make this even. Number one, you got to get your shopping list straightened out. So shopping list. It's got to be straight. Your shopping list is here. So again, what you're going to do is you're going to pop this out. You're going to find your menu one for that day. Take a peek off of there. Okay. There's a little bit of a dumbed down version of what's this sheet's on there. Again, it says don't buy it. Stay to the outside. Everybody knows that, right? For the shopping, you stay to the outside. It's pretty easy. If you do it, it's almost always paleo coming back through. Stay to the outside as you wrap yourself back around. But the shopping list, here's the deal. Stick to it. Okay. The first rule of shopping is stick to the outside. So number 2 rule of shopping.
Don't be hungry.
Don't be hungry. You got it, okay? Because you go hungry, your body's like that guy, that rock's looking for his next meal. He's going to gobble up wherever he's going to be. He's going to buy the carbs. He's going to buy all the different mixes. And definitely come through and say, see what we got to do. So again, shopping list, got to stick to it. The next one is going to be prep. We got to meal prep. Okay? I'm sorry to say this, but listen, eating this way is not always the most convenient, okay? Even though, to be honest with you, whoever created fruit and vegetables is pretty smart. They're pretty much easy to carry along, like an apple, right? A banana fits in your hand. It's like you got to carry a big cooler, right? So I mean, really, most of these foods that are on this diet are very easy to kind of come about and kind of be there. So you want to make sure that you prep a little bit. So what we try to do is, number one, first and foremost, is a shout out to all the moms out there and dads who do the food shopping, because you're really the gatekeeper of the house. Okay, so again, whoever does it. So when you're the gatekeeper of the house, you have responsibilities. Again, that's going to be to get that shopping list and that shopping cart looking correct. The next one's your prepping. That's where I kick in. I don't do the shopping, so I try to kick in the prep time. So for me, it's chopping up vegetables, it's putting them into plastic bags, it's putting them into Tupperware. I grill out, so I caveman, I get to cook and just light my fire and put the chicken on, and I cook all the meats for the week. So I try to cook as many as I can up front. So I always have that ready and prepared for me, because again, the only way this thing is going to be successful for each of you is that if it's convenient. Okay, if it's got to be cooked, it's not convenient. You're not going to want to grab it. So again, that's why we have the keystone meals, the big meals you cook in a crock pot or a vat, so you have them available. And or, again, having pre-cut veggies, pre-cut fruits, all those things ready to grab and kind of go at it, make it nice and easy for you. So food prepping, you got to get it cut up for the most part. And then here's the deal, guys. You got to have a plan, okay? The plan is of 2 parts. It's a weekly plan and a daily plan. Okay, so the plan for the week needs to be that when you go shopping, you know what you're going to buy. You know what's out there. You picked your meal choices. You picked a dinner for each night. Again, shout out to my wife at home. She does a great job of putting down what we're going to have for dinner for the next 7 days. She's really good mapping out with that part. So we got to have that plan. You got to have a daily plan. Okay, so if you don't have a daily plan, life is going to throw you around when it comes to nutrition. Because I can tell you right now, again, driving past a Wawa, driving past a McDonald's, driving past any of most of the fast food joints. Do you guys know what colors most fast food places are, by the way? What are the 2 most popular colors for fast food? And there's a reason for it.
Red.
Red and one more. Yellow. Red and yellow, scientifically proven to be more addictive. Okay, so again, there's reasons why there are certain things that happen to us. Okay, and again, it's kind of interesting how that works, but it gets there. So if we don't have a plan, we got to make sure we're there. So daily, having a plan. So again, mapping it out. 4 meals. So again, if you're a morning person, breakfast is pretty easy, guys. You know, there's an egg muffin. I didn't say egg McMuffin. There's an egg muffin tin that we have that we actually make inside of a muffin tin. It's eggs, spinach, and a little bit of sausage. It's fantastic, and I make a whole tin of them, like I would make muffins, and I have them available. And by the way, we are microwave free now for 7 years, 8 years. So no microwave. Just kind of said, no, we don't need it. So like I do a lot of heating up with pans and stuff like that to make it easy for us. But the sausage muffin tin, there's recipes in there for the breakfast. So look at them up, start listing them, start mapping them out. They're nice and easy on that part. When it comes to your lunches, I love hard-boiled eggs. I'll hard-boil 12 eggs on a Monday morning just to have eggs for the rest of the time. And by the way, yolks are back in. Okay, fat's back in vogue. So one thing you're going to see in this program is I am going to ask you, and get in our emails we'll send out to you, an avocado a day. Great idea to start getting an avocado a day. It's a fantastic form of fat. It's got fiber. It's kind of like the egg of the vegetable family because it's got so much going on with it that it's hard not to do that. And again, eggs are incredible too. Coconut oil, excellent. Start using it. You know, I've been putting it in my coffee lately. Our bulletproof coffee. We'll give you the recipe for that also. Getting back into using some grass-fed butters, even though it's not paleo approved, I'll still do more cooking with that, or putting things on things if I have to, putting on some sort of butter. We use a grass-fed butter if we have to on that part. So again, having that plan as far as that time comes back in along. Let me check in real quick. See, I think we covered most of that fun stuff. When it comes down to like the other stuff as far as condiments go and all those kind of things, the cool part is I've included them on your meal chart so you can actually look them up. The only really paleo safe condiment really out there is mustard. So it's hard to add sugar to mustard. But if you do buy it, like I said, you can buy a ketchup and those kind of things in a good variety. Wegmans, we shop at, I give a shout out to them. They do a great job of vetting a lot of their pieces coming back in and through. On the back end, after you download your resources that we'll be giving you to after watching this video, you're also going to have an option to get into our Facebook page. Again, the Facebook page will give you access to answer all the basic questions coming forward, because there will be a lot of them coming out of this talk. But I want to kind of close on the idea that this is a very simple diet in lecture right now, but getting it into play is that tough part. And again, these three things is what gets us going when it comes to that. Because like I said, the choices, fruits, veggies, lean proteins, and nuts and seeds. So it's not a whole lot when it comes down to those choices. So again, the recipes will help you make those meals back up and together. Again, shoot for that. The prepping time, again, putting the time and energy into fixing it ahead of time, that Sunday, getting everything together would be a great idea. And then getting that plan together and mapping that back out. The last one to put on here is a journal. I definitely recommend the journal. I will send the journal out to you also in your emails. By the way, you will get 1 email per day from me, just so you know, for the next 30 days. There are little tidbits and facts. The reason I do that is because it works like a trigger. If you check your email in the morning, oh yeah, I'm doing this paleo thing. I better remember this part, okay? So it's going to trigger that part out. But again, I'll include the journal aspect of where you can journal. The other thing is at the very bottom of this video, you're going to see below this, is there going to be a link to our private Facebook group. Okay? In order for me to get on this diet and stay on this diet, I needed help. Okay? I surrounded other people myself. When I first ran it, it was in my CrossFit gym in Newtown. And the reason I got successful on it was because we had 30 people doing it with me. And the more people, we didn't have Facebook groups back then. Now we have Facebook groups. So the more people that are involved doing this program, the easier it's going to be, because you can ask those questions, like how do I get through it? Again, shoot your success picture. Say, look at my cart. And by the way, if I see you at Giant and I'm walking around, you damn well right I'm judging your cart. Okay? Because again, it's a major source of what was going to go into our house when it comes to our food. Again, I don't judge all that often, but again, when we're on this kind of diet, we have to be very strict on those choices coming through. As far as eating out, we covered again, fist, palm, thumb when you're eating out. Okay? So smaller meal sizes, it saves you. And by the way, the average meal eating out is 3 to 4 times larger than you really need to consume. So think about that. They overserve you, okay, because a lot of food. So you got to go back to fist, palm, thumb when you're eating out. When you're eating at home, if you want to just have a huge salad, you can have the biggest salad in the world you want to have, guys. Again, dressings are addressed in here also, what kind of dressings you can have. I usually, with all those things, I work towards the less processed, the better. And the best way to notice a less processed food is less ingredients on the list. So take the time out, turn it over, and say, okay, what's in this salad dressing? What's in this ketchup? What's in this? What's in this? It should be low. We just talked about a second ago about how our bodies were designed. Our bodies were designed to eat very simplistically. If I eat something from nature right now, like an apple or a carrot or a piece of meat, my body has all the enzymes to digest that. So when I bite into an apple, my mouth has amylase and pectin and all these different types of enzymes start breaking it down. So it's very easy for my body. If I eat the apple fritter from McDonald's down the street, which has the name apple in it, but there's no real ingredient that even has an apple, it's all processed. Do you guys know what your body secretes in order to process an apple fritter? What do you think? What's everybody always have in their stomach? They always have too much what? Acid. Hydrochloric acid. So hydrochloric acid is deposited into the stomach because it breaks down food. So if I was a cleaner and I wanted to clean cement, like dirt off of cement, I'd squirt some acid on, acetone, and start scrubbing it away because it breaks it down to the basic principles. So when someone has a high acid part ratio, it's because their bodies are eating complex pieces they can't digest, so you have too much acid built up, and then it starts to irritate the gut lining and all that kind of fun stuff. We irritate our esophageal lining. Next thing we have all kind of problems. So again, acid's a reducer. So this diet will get you away from that. It'll get you less acid, so you're more alkaline, and it'll absolutely get you back to less inflammation as you start to move along too. Because again, inflammation, if you want to start looking at cancer, inflammation problem. Okay, too many sunburns, too many cigarette smoking, inflammation problem. Heart disease, chronic inflammation of the arterial lining in the heart. Okay, that's heart disease. Inflammation's involved. Diabetes, same thing. Again, a lot of inflammatory process kicking into play. So again, paleo will cover that aspect of it as long as we're backing in through. Now, as far as last thing that flows off on, the cheats. Okay, if you stay true to this thing, it should be 100%. If it's something where you're kind of mixing in between, try to go 80-20, 90-10. 80-20 means that 80% of the foods that are going to be in your shopping cart should be coming from this list. Okay, so 80-20. So 80% of the foods should be on this list. The last thing is 90-10. I just asked you to eat 4 times a day. with the mathematical, how many meals a week is that?
28.
28. Okay, so you get 3 meals to have fun with. Okay, 3 to 4 meals. I'll give you a 4th one. Okay, so I will take them liberally over the summertime. I'm trying to maintain my weight. I will take 4 good meals out with my wife because I like having dinner with my wife. Or I might take 4 good days where I go out with my buddies and it's a whole day of just having fun. But I'm good the rest of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday, I'm on bar, and then or on par, and then on Sunday I'm at the bar, hanging out and having a good time. So again, just kind of putting these pieces back into play. The more dedicated you stay to that, would be great. I look forward to seeing each one of you on our Facebook group and the message coming through. Any questions from anybody in the crowd for right now?
No, good, thank you.
Pretty good. There we go.
I just have a couple questions.
Sure.
Lemon juice or vinegar, what do you recommend for salads? Because clearly that'll be a...
You can go more towards oils, like so what was that? What I had today? Well, I did like a balsamic today, but it was Jamie Hollanders has that great mix between oil and vinegar.
Oh, so as long as you blend it with oil, you just don't want straight vinegar?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you want to blend it. Yeah, remember you want to get fats. Okay, so
Yeah,
don't be
no.
afraid of the fats. Yeah, so if you're going to err towards anything, again, olive oil and some vinegar, awesome salad dressing kind of coming through. I'll sprinkle it with like some Italian seasoning, and shake it up and then
that's
dump it. Yeah, you can do that no problem. Yeah,
Okay.
that's an easy one. That's a good one.
And then I didn't see kefir on here, fermented.
Is
Because I know it's a dairy, it's fermented.
Yeah, I would say it's right there with kombucha, which is getting closer to like, again, it's out of the Scooby, but I would say as far as kefir goes, here's the deal with, I would say with kefir, again, because of how it's
Plain.
done.
Whole milk.
Plain, I would say earlier the better. So what you're going to what I kind of formulate for myself is that if I'm going to have a higher carbohydrate or higher sugar piece, I'll have it earlier in the day. So I'll have it for breakfast, I'll have it for lunch, I'll have it post-workout, but I won't have it after 3 o'clock just to have it. So if I'm sitting at home, I'm not going to have kefir for an 8 o'clock snack. I might have some celery and some almond butter, that kind of stuff, or an eggs or something like that. I'll kind of have that towards the end. But that's a great question too. But keep in mind too, I'm always going to put like quality-based foods like kombucha, sauerkraut, kefir, anything that's going to help the gut biome, kimchi, the gut biome. That's going to rank high for me because I think along with the paleo part, you're getting a lot of fiber. You need a lot of the good bacteria to be in part of your diet too,
Right.
because that's going to help offset some of that growth. Because again, the goal, the whole kind of thing for me would be is that your gut comes out more healed, and that's what will happen when you eat a cleaner diet. Your gut gets less inflammation, less irritation, and you're on a healing process side. So yeah, kefir I would say earlier the better, but keep it in your diet though.
Okay.
Cool. Any other ones? How about drinking coffee, liquors, alcohols? It's on there. Just so you know.
There's a whole sheet, huh?
Yeah, there's on there. The whole sheet's on there. So again, alcohol, red wine, wine, beer, spirits, hard stuff, those kind of things. Keep it all in moderation. I know we're coming up maybe in the summer months. I'm not sure when you guys are doing this program, but the summer months are coming upon us. So again, with proper moderation is not a bad idea. Have some fun with this diet. The reason why I try to emphasize is not a paleo diet where you're strict on it. It's a paleo lifestyle for me, meaning that I go back to this when I'm not doing good with my diet. I go back to this kind of diet program to get myself back on track. Cool. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing everybody, including you guys, in our Facebook group. Again, post your wins. Do me a favor. If you're shopping, post a picture of your kids holding a bag of carrots. Talk about some weight loss because we will see some weight loss through the program. Post all those kind of things, but get more involved, and we'll see you guys also. Awesome.